Marvel's What If Episode 7 has just introduced us into what may very well be one of the most formidable antagonists in the history of the MCU, a figure that we will be dubbing Infinity Ultron. Infinity Ultron seems to be from a reality where Ultron succeeded in uploading his consciousness into the Vision's body, but if you're interested in a full breakdown of his history, origins, and how he obtained the Infinity Stones, see our previous two videos on why the Watcher didn't know Infinity Ultron and how he got the Soul Stone for the full context of what we believe is his origin story. For this video, however, instead of looking into the past and figuring out where Infinity Ultron came from, we will be looking to the future and figuring out where he might be going, and even going so far as to propose that he might even be the overarching villain of the What If series as a whole. So stick with us, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, and let's dive straight into this popular fan theory. We seem to have hints that the various universes will in some way overlap or collide in the near future of the What If series, as various promotional materials see Strange Supreme from episode 4 conversing with the other What If mainstays, including Captain Carter and Party Thor. There is also a conspicuous shot of an alternate Avengers roster that may be made up of a team that fans are calling the Guardians of the Multiverse. But if this team is being assembled from a variety of different realities across all points in time, then it stands to reason that they have a significant threat on the horizon that demands their immediate attention. In our previous video, we theorized that Infinity Ultron might actually be the first being to traverse different active timelines, seeing as the only other interdimensional travel that we have seen was actually time travel that splintered the timeline. But since we've already covered this in depth, we won't be dwelling on it too much here. Much like Tony Stark developed a time-space GPS in order to navigate the quantum realm and decide where and when on the sacred timeline to travel to, Ultron may have developed a similar navigation device that allows him to choose not only the specific timeline that he wants to conquer, but exactly what point on the timeline he enters into it. If Infinity Ultron is jumping between different timelines and seeking to conquer the inhabitants, then it could prompt Strange Supreme to assemble some of the mightiest heroes from each timeline in jeopardy, leading to a climactic final showdown that not only resolves many of the hanging plot threads from previous episodes, but also assembles each of our favorite heroes into one final episode in this Guardians of the Multiverse. This would offer closure to numerous episodes that seem to have been left on cliffhanger endings, which fans have been pining to see get resolved. We could not only see the fallout of these episodes' endings, but also draw some of the strongest characters from each timeline into one climactic showdown. We would also like to address the often cited issue regarding the Infinity Stones, as in the original comics lore, they do not work outside of their respective universes of origin. This would, theoretically, mean that the Infinity Stones are all but useless in the hands of Infinity Ultron, and effectively serve as nothing more than decoration for Ultron's chassis. So let's explore one of our favorite plausible explanations for how the stones might still be able to work across different timelines. For the sake of time, we will only be delving into one theory for right now, but there are multiple plausible explanations that we may cover in a future video. The theory that we'll be touching on is the idea that each of these timelines still take place within the same universe, and the universe is spawning different branches within itself. In Loki episode 6, we see two distinct universes, ours and the MCU, before focusing in on the MCU and watching the timelines branch. If the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still one universe with numerous branching timelines, then the Infinity Stones could reasonably be useful across different realities, so long as they all take place in the same grand universe. If we trace each of the branching timelines back, they all have a common origin, the Big Bang. But it's entirely possible that other universes, such as the one we see in Loki that seems to represent our own universe, had their own Big Bang, making them fundamentally different on an atomic and elemental level. Therefore, we propose that if a timeline A can be traced back to the same Big Bang as timeline B, then the Infinity Stones might be able to work in both of these timelines, seeing as they are still within the same overarching universe. But again, this is simply speculation as of now until anything is confirmed. This would admittedly entail some restructuring and deviation from the comic's origin, but we know that the MCU is no stranger to altering comic precedent for the movies. Theoretically, this idea could be the key difference between different universes and different timelines, and if this means that Ultron is able to use his Infinity Stones to conquer his own neighboring realities, then he could reliably become one of the most dangerous antagonists that the Avengers have had to face in their tenure. If, however, the stones don't work, and the MCU follows the same comic precedent wherein the Infinity Stones are limited to their own timeline of origin, then that wouldn't discount Ultron's raw strength and formidable power. Ultron was able to assemble an armada large enough to lay siege to Sokovia and challenge the might of the Avengers in roughly a week's time. If he was left alone on a desolate Earth with access to the remains of the various governments and corporations of the world, not to mention the Wakandan vibranium meteor and Tony Stark's cutting-edge research and tech from upwards of 3 years, then it stands to reason that the legion of drones and weapons he was able to create in this time could very well lay waste to any timeline he ventures to without the help of the Infinity Stones. Ultron's greatest enemy in Age of Ultron was time, and the fact that the Avengers were able to stop him before he became too powerful with the help of the Vision. If Ultron is piloting Vision's vibranium body and was able to destroy the Avengers of his reality, then he would be able to grow and evolve unchecked until he finally cracked the science of timeline hopping. Not to mention, he would now have access to the technology of any timeline he had jumped to before this moment that we see him, and would likely be able to integrate this tech into his arsenal of weapons and tools. Is it theoretically possible that Infinity Ultron has become so powerful that he doesn't need the help of the Infinity Stones to conquer entire timelines anymore? If this is the case, then perhaps Strange Supreme realizes that only by assembling the strongest guardians of the multiverse can he hope to stop Ultron's siege and conquests. But that remains to be seen as the What If series progresses. Is it possible that Infinity Ultron is way more dangerous than any of the kings of the multiverse? More dangerous than Thanos? More dangerous than Dormammu? Could Infinity Ultron be one of, if not the most dangerous threat in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe to date? But anyway, my friends, what do you think of the idea of Infinity Ultron being the overarching villain of the What If series? Do you like this idea, and if so, who would you like to see him stand up against in the finale of What If? Do you think that Infinity Ultron is one of the most powerful characters in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.